Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and we got some breaking news to discuss. The Las Vegas Raiders have signed former Cowboys wide receiver Michael Gallup to a one-year deal worth up to $3 million. I know we were just live on the Raiders Report, and I know I said, hey, goodbye, I'm leaving. The next time you're going to see Jeremy Chugs and I is on Tuesday. But you know what? When breaking news happens, we got you covered here. You might not agree with everything that Jugs and I say. You might not agree with everything that we do. But if you want Raiders news and rumors, if you want content every single day running your doorstep for the low, low price for the next 366 days of absolutely free, you hit that subscribe button. And anytime you're ready to rock, believe me when I tell you, I'm ready to rock out. So let's continue to break down what this move means for the Silver and Black after the 2024 NFL Draft. And where exactly he's going to fit and how does this impact a lot of other players out there. So again, he's got that one-year deal worth up to $3 million. I don't know what the base value is, but getting a player like Michael Gallup at that value, I think it's phenomenal. Has spent all 6 seasons in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys, was a receiver that I liked a lot when he was coming out of Colorado State. And, you know, when you do fantasy football, and I did fantasy football way, way back in the day, this is like right around when Michael Gallup was coming out, he was one of my favorite receivers because I love guys that can run routes, and that's what he was. Small school guy, can run routes. Since some of his leg injuries and that ACL one in 2022 has really, I think, zapped him of a lot of that athletic ability, crisp route running that he used to be able to do when he first got into the league coming out of Colorado State. Now, a little bit slower, still a little bit more of a possession receiver, and I feel like he's been in the league for so much longer, still only 27 years old, but I do think is more of that possession guy, a little bit more reliable than a guy like Tre Tucker who might just be used for speed. And I do think that Michael Gallup is going to impact Tre Tucker in his ability to get out on the field. However, does this mean that he's going to be better than a guy like Brock Bowers, who the Raiders just drafted? I'll break all of that down, but what I want to know again, 1 year, $3 million, up to $3 million, not $3 million, up to $3 million, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know down below what you guys are thinking about the move AP and Telesco just made. For me, I'm going to give this an A- grade. I don't think that he's a spectacular player, but at the end of the day, if I was at a yard sale and I found something that was worth of value to me, I'm going to look at that and I go, that's a good value. I'm interested. Michael Gallup was the one receiver that I talked about today on the Raiders Report, and he was my #1 free agent target that the Silver Black should sign if they are looking for a wide receiver. They had Jalen Guyton in on a workout, so obviously they're looking at some sort of receivers, but it's an A- grade because you're getting somebody that has at least a little bit of pedigree here in the NFL. Yes, he's not what he once was considering the fact that he's got that injury, but 1 year worth up to $3 million. If you tell me right now I can get a receiver that's giving me 34 grabs, 418 yards, and 2 touchdowns, that already in the NFL for what it costs for a receiver is worth it. So now we're getting him at even cheaper, right? And if you end up hitting some of these benchmarks, he's going to make that $3 million, cool. I'm all good with it. I'm not even looking at the money. You're finding an extra player here to add a little bit more depth. We know we got one of the best in the biz, if not the best in Devontae. You got Jacoby Myers. You just drafted Brock Bowers to be this slot wide receiver tight end hybrid. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think Michael Gallup impacts Brock Bowers' role at all. Bowers is still going to be that third option right next to Jacoby, right next to Davante Adams. If anything, the Michael Gallup move, I think, impacts Tre Tucker, but it also tells me a little bit more into what Tre Tucker's role this upcoming season is going to be, at least what I think it's going to be. And that's what's going to be coming up next here on the Raiders Report, because anytime something like this happens, how does it impact the other players out there? And then at the very, very end, I'll tell you how many players are on our roster and how many more we could potentially add this offseason. If you don't know, you got to know. Shout out to Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. I use Prize Picks all the time. I love them for the NBA playoffs, which actually the Heat and the Celtics are squaring up right now. All you got to do is choose more. All you got to do is choose less. It's really as simple as that. You can go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and make sure that you use code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. I also know a lot of people out there, like myself, if you don't know something, maybe you're not willing to go more or less on something that you don't know. For me, I know football, right? That's what I know. So for me, my next year's, more or less that I got going here with Prize Picks, Bryce Young, 18.5 touchdowns. It's going to be more. They put a lot of talent around him. C.J. Stroud, A lot of talent around him. Heck, I got this before the trade for Stephon Diggs. Feeling real good about it. Also, Tank Dell, hopefully you're doing good. Shout out to your family, man. We're pulling for you here at Chat Sports. And then Chris Jones, we're going to go less on the 12 sacks there. Yeah, Chris Jones. Yeah, F that guy. I don't care. FKC. Tank Dell, we love you. Chris Jones, F you. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Seriously, though, as much fun as what Chugs and I have on the show, whether you care about a game or not, if you go more, if you go less, all you need then is you're going to be locked into that game. I don't care if it's hockey. I don't care if it's baseball. I don't care if it's the NBA. I promise you this, you will be locked in. Shout out to PrizePicks again for sponsoring the Raiders Report. So let's look now at the Raiders wide receiver depth chart. This is after the NFL draft. This is after the UDFA signings. And to me, it's Devontae Adams 1, Jacoby Myers 2. Gallup is going to be your number 3 receiver, okay? What's important, though, about these roles is I still wanted to show Brock Bowers on screen because I do still think that he's so good that it's not fair to just put him as a tight end. He's on our tight end graphic and he's on our wide receiver graphic because he's going to make just as much of an impact at both of those positions. I also just really wanted to be able to show you how awesome this receiving core looks like with those 3 receivers and then Brock Bowers on top of that. Hell, I got to get one where I can put Michael Mayer up there. But to me, this move does not impact Bowers. Bowers is going to get his. The Raiders chose to take Bowers over Fuaga, Terrion Arnold, Quinion Mitchell. The Raiders knew bigger need offensive tackle. Raiders knew bigger need cornerback. That's how much they like this guy. He's going to get a lot of work in Luke Getsy's offense. To me, it impacts Tre Tucker because just a few days ago, Tucker was our number 3 wide receiver. Well, now he's behind Brock Bowers. I think now he's also going to be behind Michael Gallup in targets. I also think he's going to be behind Michael Mayer when it comes to targets. But to me, what Tre Tucker now, this is screaming, is punt return, kick return. I think they're going to use Tre Tucker a little bit more in the special teams game, which, to be totally honest with you, I love Tre Tucker in special teams. Tough dude, former wrestler. He's up for the job. How about this, though? Because I know this is going to be a very common question amongst the nation, and hopefully we can have an adult conversation and not hate each other for it. If you want to see some TDs, type Tre Tucker. If you think Michael Gallup gets more receiving yards this upcoming season, let me know for the silver and black. I will admit that I think it's going to be close. The only reason why I'm willing to go more here with Michael Gallup is because I think he's going to end up getting more targets. If they end up with the exact same amount of targets, I will actually vote Tre Tucker because I think he's going to do more with them. But because Gallup is still only 27 years old, he's a good route runner. He understands route trees a little bit more than what Tre Tucker does. And I think it's going to be one of those things where Gallup will get the first crack at it. And if he doesn't succeed, then they will give it to Tre Tucker. And maybe our highest upside is with Tre Tucker. Bottom line is, though, I'm going to bet on the person that I think is getting more targets, which is Michael Gallup. So we're live here on the Raiders Report. We got 1,800 people watching us. When the silver and black do something big, we go live here on this show. So my question to everybody tuned in is, do you want to turn this into a shit show? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. Anytime you want to stay up to date again with Raiders news, I also put out a video on Instagram. Put a video out on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. Chugs and I want to know if the nation's ready to turn up because we're allowed to be here for another 30 minutes or so. And if you want to get this party going, tune into our live show here on the Raiders Report. It's about to get wet and wild. And I told Chugs, you know what? We might have to extend the show if the nation wants it. If not, we're out of here. If you want to extend it, we'll keep it going. Michael Gallup, welcome to the nation. I promise you we'll treat you a lot better than what the Cowboys did.